From the local station, News 4 Jax starts now.
The breaking news, pictures beginning to emerge of victims of the mass murder at an Orlando nightclub, the deadliest killing rampage in U.S. history. The dead and wounded include at least 2 men from here in Jacksonville. And harrowing new details are coming in from survivors.
And he texted me this morning and said he was okay, but he lost over 20 of his friends.
Video from inside that nightclub posted to social media showed the moments that the first shots rang out. Now investigators are trying to piece together what the gunman was doing every moment before he began killing innocent people. Just within the past hour, the owner of the gun store where Omar Mateen bought his weapons told reporters Mateen passed the background check required by law. We've also learned Mateen tried to buy body armor at another store, but the clerk refused to sell it to him.
That as we learn more about his victims who come from every walk of life, a dancer, an accountant, financial aid representative, 49 people killed, 53 others wounded. We have our team covering every angle, learning more about the victims and where the investigation goes from here. Bruce Hamilton is in Orlando leading our coverage from there. Bruce.
Thank you very much. We stumbled across a journalist who actually got behind the Pulse nightclub to give us a unique perspective of behind the scenes on this investigation. Let me show you this picture briefly now, and I'll explain more about it in just a little bit. If you take a look over on the right, you see a big hole. That hole is where SWAT used that Bearcat to breach the wall and get into the nightclub. And there you see crime scene techs. They're going through that wall looking for bullet holes and other evidence. As a matter of fact, the DEA is here, FDLE, and a number of other police agencies, including the FBI, with help from agents from Jacksonville, who are going through the nightclub looking for every shred of forensic evidence they could find. It is a tedious task. It is a task that is likely to take days. Also here are members of the ATF. Take a look at this video. It's shot from an aerial view. You can see the ATF members outside the nightclub shortly after the shooting. The scene, nothing short of horrific, mind-boggling, and still remaining questions as to why. Not everybody's been identified. There's one victim who has yet to be identified. Not all the next of kin have been notified. We do know that there are 49 victims who are dead, as is the shooter. That means the total number of dead is at 50. There are 53 people who were injured. Now let me give you some highlights of our coverage in this 5 o'clock half hour of the local news. We managed to talk to the gun shop owner. You heard that the gunman, Omar Mateen, passed the background check. But that gun shop owner described him as an evil, evil person. The FBI on 2 different occasions questioned Mateen. They closed their investigation, and they are going to look closely at their protocol. They believe they did the right thing. They don't believe that they missed any evidence. And point number 3 is that there are, we talked about the number of victims, 49 victims, 53 injured. The president has been very quick to respond. He made a statement last night, and he talked to us again from the White House this afternoon. And basically he says he doesn't think that there's a larger plot. Essentially, Omar Mateen was a lone gunman.
At this stage, we see no clear evidence that he was directed externally. It does appear that at the last minute, he announced allegiance to ISIL. But there is no evidence so far that he was in fact directed by ISIL, and there also at this stage is no direct evidence that he was part of a larger plot.
We're also going to look hard at our own work to see whether there is something we should have done differently. So far, the honest answer is, I don't think so. I don't see anything in reviewing our work that our agents should have done differently, but we'll look at it in an open and honest way and be transparent about it.
FBI Director James Comey. As for the shooter, we told you he obtained the guns legally. He is from Fort Pierce in South Florida, Martin County. Channel 4's Chris Parento managed to talk to the gun store owner who sold him the weapons that were used in that massacre. Chris.
Bruce, that gun store owner said if it wasn't his shop, it would have been another shop here locally. But he was very frustrated that the guns used in this massacre did come from this shop here behind me here in Port St. Lucie. ATF agents were out here all day long going through all of the paperwork inside the gun store, the owner even closing the store today, saying that it was not shut down by ATF agents, but that he and his staff made the decision to close the store so they could work and access everything they needed whenever they needed to it without distraction and without interruption. He again reinforced that these guns were bought legally. He estimates the long gun and the handgun both purchased about 5 to 10 days before this massacre happens. He said that he recognized the shooter but didn't know him personally. Again, he's very disappointed that these weapons came from his store.
An evil person came in here and illegally purchased 2 firearms from us. And if he hadn't purchased them from us, I'm sure he would have gotten them from another local gun store in the area. This man held multiple security licenses. He had an armed and an unarmed license. He passed the background check that every single person that purchases a firearm in the state of Florida undergoes.
That gun store owner also addressed the issue of potential body armor that the shooter might have tried to buy. He said that did not happen here. He says they don't sell body armor, they don't plan to sell body armor, they never have, and none of his sales associates ever remember this person asking to purchase body armor from this store. He again says they're cooperating fully with the FBI, the FDLE, and ATF. Again, he says he's sorry those guns were purchased from his store, but that if they weren't, they would have come from somewhere else. Live in Port St. Lucie, Florida, I'm Chris Parento, Channel 4, the local station.
Chris, thank you. When you talk about the victims, you need to know that there are a couple who are from Jacksonville. Pulse nightclub was popular among people in Orlando and from around the state. Channel 4's Jim Pickett joins us now with more on the victims. Jim.
You know, one of the victims, Daryl Burt, he will be remembered for his love for life. He was killed at the Pulse nightclub. Now, he had worked here at Kaiser University here on the south side, and his untimely death will definitely be remembered here. Daryl Burt was involved with several groups in Jacksonville, including the JCs. He spent time here at Kaiser University working with military students and helping them pay for college.
Daryl was a great contributor to the community. He was one of our financial aid officers and worked with our military and veteran students through the financial aid process and helping them through college. Just a great contributor, very involved in the community, respected individual, and he's already very missed.
Burt moved around. He has family in Indiana, but those that know him say he loved it in Jacksonville and was doing work with the community. He was 29 years old.
Vivacious, he's young, he's full of life, and he had a lot of things going for him.
Another Jacksonville man who was shot at the club is recovering. Rodney Sumner played football for Jacksonville University from 2008 to 2010. That's all university officials could confirm at this point. We have learned that he was a bartender at Pulse and was shot several times. The person who helped him appeared on CNN and made several Facebook postings talking about Sumner. One thing we've learned about Sumner, though, that he did have surgery today, and according to somebody that knows him, he is recovering and is in a stable condition, at least at this point. Now, coming up all new at 6 o'clock, more on the gentleman that worked here at Kaiser University and what his role was with the city and the JCs. We're live on the south side. Jim Pickett, Channel 4, the local station.
Jim, thank you. We are just south of downtown Orlando, 2 blocks from the Pulse nightclub. Let me take you behind the scenes now of the investigation and show you once again the picture that I showed you at the start of this newscast that gives us a compelling view of crime scene investigators at work. Take a look at this photo given to me by a source after much negotiation. The hole on the right, where SWAT broke through the back of the Pulse nightclub. In front of it, CSI, crime scene investigators, examining bullet holes. Local, state, and federal agencies hunkered down, perhaps for days, combing Pulse for every shred of forensic evidence they can find. Meantime, members of this community are coming together, vowing not to let this act of terror, this hate crime, tear them apart.
It's absolutely a hate crime. I mean, the very definition of terrorism is that you commit violent acts to intimidate and coerce a certain group of people. And it happens to be our group of people right now, and that's it absolutely is a hate crime.
Members of the Muslim community here in Orlando tell me the mass shooting has left them heartbroken.
As soon as we heard about it, our hearts broke. I mean, over 50 people dead, over 50 people injured. You know, this is a tragedy in all senses of the word. So our thoughts and our prayers are going out to the victims' families and friends, and we're praying for the speedy recovery of those who are injured.
I've talked to members of the LGBT community here in Orlando, and they tell me the irony of all of this is that the Pulse nightclub was opened in 2003 as a place to be a safe haven for members of the gay community, a place to have fun, a place to share dialogue, open dialogue, and deal with dogma that exists. That begs the question, will its owner, who established it in 2003 in honor of her son who died from AIDS, reopen in the wake of this deadly massacre?
It will absolutely reopen. I mean, I know the owner and I know our community, and the other clubs aren't shutting down. We're not going to live in fear. We're absolutely not going to live in fear over an act of hate. There's too much love.
And you can see the love here in this community, but I can tell you right now there is still angst. There are a number of families who don't know the fate of their loved ones, don't know whether or not they are among the dead or those being taken care of and in surgery in the hospital. Channel 4's Heather Lee has that part of the story.
This is the grassy area that has been designated as the memorial, and people have been leaving things throughout the day. You can see that they have left bouquets of flowers, balloons, signs, just about anything they can to help honor these victims.
The words are beginning to flow. Love conquers hate. God bless Orlando. The messages, some longer than others, but one thing is clear. They've all got heart. More love, less hate. They help fill the gap between just names on a list to who they were as people.
Really kind, smart, and talented. And his life was worth more than this.
This little girl showing sometimes you don't even need words at all. Let's not forget the pictures, the faces. Gilbert Crispin says that's the one thing he can't do.
I still don't believe that all of this is happening, and I still think that we might go out next Saturday and they're gonna be with us again. It's unreal, it's unrealistic. It's like it's not happening.
He has 2 friends recovering in the hospital and several others that passed. It's the same story for Jose and Garcia, who lost Amanda Alvere and Mercedes Flores.
It's been devastating. I mean, it's a living nightmare for me right now because I can't get the sounds out of my head. I can't get the pictures out of my head.
No, I don't want to cry no more. I don't want this to hurt me in a bad place. I want to learn from it. And the only thing I can really say is that it's really sad that some of the names that they were calling, there was no family there for them.
Which is why these words are so important.
Now, there is a candlelight vigil set for tonight here at 7 o'clock, and everyone is invited to come out and honor these people and pay their respects. Heather Lee, Channel 4, the local station.
Heather, thank you. The 5 o'clock whistle has blown for many people, but not for those crime scene investigators who are working in the Pulse nightclub, combing it for forensic evidence. As a matter of fact, all these cars right here, DEA agents who just joined in the effort not too long ago. An influx of police who expect to be here for several days before they can wrap up this crime scene. Tom and Mary.
Bruce, thanks. Heart-stopping video just released shows the moments leading up to the massacre in Orlando.
What we've learned about the woman who recorded the video after the break. Dramatic video posted to Snapchat captured the very first gunfire inside Pulse nightclub.
Kent is joining us now to show us this chilling video. Kent.
Yeah. Mary and Tom, a young woman named Amanda Alvere was Snapchatting when the shooting erupted, and a friend later posted that video to Facebook. And we're about to play this for you. You should know 2 things. The people in the club were not immediately alarmed when they heard these gunshots. They thought that they were pops, they were the sound of the music. You should also know that Miss Alvere did not survive. According to The Guardian, the 25-year-old was a nursing student at the University of South Florida in Tampa. Alvere lived in Davenport. Her brother Brian says that she worked as a pharmacy technician. Brian also says he knows his sister would want her death to be used as an opportunity to spread love not hate. Mary?
Just heartbreaking. Thank you, Kent. Investigators have learned Omar Mateen was licensed by the state to carry a gun as part of his job as a security officer.
However, Channel 4's Mike Vass tells us some of the details surrounding that license are still being kept under wraps.
Florida law requires security guards who are armed to first pass a psychological evaluation, but Casey Poulin, who runs a St. Pete-based company that helps protect power plants and corporate executives, says the evaluation has a limited shelf life.
The reality is that the screening is only good for at the time of the screening.
Commissioner of Agriculture Adam Putnam is in charge of security guard licensing. He says nothing in Mateen's record disqualified him from receiving the license.
He was fingerprinted. He successfully completed the application, had a criminal background check.
The shooter has been licensed to carry a gun as a security officer since 2007. To carry a gun, Omar Mateen underwent 20 hours of classroom training and 8 hours on a gun range. His license renewed every other year until most recently in 2015. The law would have allowed the state to, quote, conduct such other investigations as the department may deem necessary. We asked if it did investigate after the killer became known to the FBI.
And any communication between us and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, I think, is best left to the FBI to comment on.
And the records of Mateen's license, which were easily obtainable before the shooting, are now being kept secret.
There is information in those records that is relevant to the ongoing investigation.
The Agriculture Commissioner calls his application data-rich. Reporting from the state capitol, Mike Vassalinda, Channel 4, the local station.
The same law that allowed Mateen to become a security guard also allowed him to buy a gun. Putnam says Mateen waited the required 3 days while a background check was conducted, and he passed.
Congresswoman Corrine Brown, whose district includes the Pulse nightclub and nearby Orlando neighborhoods, is making a passionate, renewed call for Congress to take action against assault weapons.
Well, let me just tell you, it takes 218 in the House, and the people need to be clear. When they are sending representatives to the United States Congress, they need to ask them the question, where do you stand on these issues? It's not whether or not you're going to buy a ticket to my barbecue. How do you stand on this issue? We've got to make it a campaign issue. We have elections coming up. People got to get involved.
The Congresswoman has plans to go to Washington this week, and she stands by her goal of helping to ensure that state and local officials receive the federal resources they need to find out why and how it happened and to prevent similar attacks from happening again.
There is still an urgent need for blood donors in response to the shooting rampage. All over the state, people have been lining up to give the gift of life. One Blood says it especially needs O negative, O positive, and AB plasma blood. Local residents can donate at one of several locations. You'll find the list at oneblood.org. You can also schedule an appointment to donate, or you can call this number 1-888-9-DONATE. That's 1-888-936-6283. We posted a link in this story on news4jax.com.
To get the most accurate, reliable forecast, our 5 powerful radar sweeps give you 5 times more coverage. Channel 4 is the weather authority.
All right, they're back. We're talking about the evening showers and storms. They started on northwestern parts of Jacksonville, right about in through here, then literally jumped over the downtown. We're out there along the south side, but now it's pretty clear that the bulk of the rain this evening will be just to the west of the downtown area. And again, as I draw the line here, kind of connecting the backside of these showers and storms, you can see them extending all the way down there towards Putnam County, or all the way down there towards Flagler County, and again, right along and just to the west of the river. These are the storms that are likely to continue to move southbound. If you live along the coast from Fernandina Beach all the way through Yulee, down towards Jacks Beach, Neptune Atlantic Beach, Ponte Vedra Beach, dry this evening. It will be an inland shower and thunder shower thing that we'll be dealing with here the next few hours. And as you can see, there are some decent storms here. The rains themselves kind of busted up, but I suspect they'll be moving in a direction kind of like this. I'll show you more in a moment, but basically down towards the west-southwest as the cool sea breeze tries to push in. These showers and storms actually build back out in this direction as we're getting a little outflow from the cool rained air, or the rain-cooled air. and that's moving all the way back in through parts of Bradford County. So from Highland to Kingsley all the way out towards Lottie, expect a pretty good downpour here. These showers out near Penny Farms are a little bit heavier about 30 minutes ago. As we look back, you can see those heavier downpours that were going on here. That's them. Again, if you look close, you can see this little gray area here. This represents that outflow coming from these showers and storms. And you can see the general motion here is towards the west-southwest. And that includes the other area of rain, which is out there right near Fleming Island. This will move all the way out here towards Green Cove Springs and probably out near the Clay County Fairgrounds. So you can see it's moving right on through Russell right now, and it'll continue to move out here to the Clay County Fairgrounds, which is located right about there. So the showers and thunder showers are back. As we look at the evening temperatures, man, it's a toasty one indeed. Feel like temperatures over 100 degrees, 96 currently at the airport, 94 in Arlington. The beach is even in with the heat right now, east-southeasterly winds. That's a sea breeze, but still in the low 90s. So summer is truly baking the area right now, and it's going to be with us for a couple more days. Tonight, again, cloudy skies develop in the wake of the showers. Warm conditions, clearing skies later on, maybe a little distant lightning all the way through about 11 o'clock. Overnight temperatures will probably reach a low of around 70. But look what's really going on across the eastern half of the United States. The answer is not much. So again, we have little pop-up showers and storms here, bad storms back out through Texas or Colorado and through parts of Oklahoma as well. But again, locally, not much in Georgia, not much along the coast as these showers will continue to move away and down towards the south. So here's the hour-by-hour forecast, and just note this summertime pattern. All morning long, check, beautiful, sunny skies, warm temperatures, gets hot quick. Noontime, start to see the beginnings of little pop-up showers, and by the time we get to 3 or 4 o'clock, the forecast model shifting the rain pattern a little bit more towards Georgia tomorrow. Remember, not much now, but tomorrow could be your big day out in Georgia as the scattered storms come in from a little bit different direction. So inland storms here this evening, mainly west of 95. Tomorrow, we've got the lightning bolts in the air as, again, scattered but not widespread thunder showers will be back. Another hot afternoon. The Gauge gauge just a 7 for your Tuesday as it'll be hazy, sunny skies. Hot, hot, hot next 3 days. And keep those umbrellas, nearby, especially during the afternoon hours. And be aware, some of these storms could go severe. We'll talk a little bit more about the Flagler County storm coming up in a few minutes and the higher probabilities of rain all the way through there, including coming up here for Sunday, Father's Day. All right, we'll be right back. We'll have much more news, what's happening in Orlando. We'll be right back.
Covering Baker County, where the search is going on for a missing teenager on the St. Mary's River. We first learned about the search at about 3 o'clock. That's when units and a dive team were called out to a popular boat ramp and swimming spot. The missing person has been described as a 17-year-old boy. We'll let you know just as soon as we get new information on the search.
Jacksonville police say the shooting death of a man inside a home in Murray Hill last Friday grew out of a dispute with a prostitute over pay. Police have arrested 2 women in connection with the killing of 41-year-old Russell Waddell. 24-year-old Antoinette Boyd is charged with second-degree murder and armed robbery. Her roommate, 44-year-old Leandra Jones, is charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The longtime Florida athletic director Jeremy Foley is retiring. He announced his plans to Florida coaches and staff members this morning.
Foley has been overseeing the Gators athletic department since 1992. He is the only sitting AD in the country to have won at least one national title in each of the last 7 years. He plans to leave October 1st. No word who will take his place.
Stay with us.
We'll be right back.
A crowdfunding campaign to raise money for the Orlando victims has so far brought in more than $2 million in just one day. Here's a look at the page. You can see right now $2.3 million have been donated by thousands of people all around the world. It's believed to be the fastest GoFundMe campaign to surpass the $1 million mark in the website's 6-year history. Our live coverage from Orlando resumes when the news continues with Kent and Mary.